And so it begins, FA Cup third round weekend, a unique time in the football calendar, so beloved of supporters up and down the country. Always a heady cocktail of big hitters and big shocks, the unfancied and the unlikely, and sometimes the unparalleled. For 64 teams, the chance of glory. For more than 660, that chance is already gone. Those hopes have a varying sense of realism, but for some this is the opportunity to provide silverware, to turn seasons and fortunes, to make memories. And these two are amongst those. After 5 years without a trophy, Manchester United will eye up a 13th FA Cup triumph to end an abnormally long barren run in the context of the preceding 3 decades. Everton's wait a good while longer. When Paul Rideout netted their winner against United at Wembley in 1995, few would have foreseen that nearly 30 years later they'd still be waiting to unlock the cabinet again. The history of this competition is punctuated with isolated cup victories that have transformed fortunes. Everton's need for that tonight has seldom been bigger. Manchester United make 4 changes. They've got 2 former FA Cup winners in the side and 3 FA Cup debutants. David De Gea in goal, Dalot, Varane, Shaw and Malacia the back 4, with Luke Shaw in the centre again. Casemiro has won the Copa del Rey alongside Christian Eriksen in midfield. Anthony, Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, who's hoping to score in a 7th successive home game. And Anthony Martial up front. On the bench, Lindelof, Maguire, Martinez, Fred, Wan-Bissaka, Elanga, McTominay, Garnacho and Heaton. Everton, Pickford in goal, Coleman, Godfrey, Cody, Tarkovsky and Mikalenko the back 5. Iwobi, Gay and Onana in midfield, Mopé and Gray up front. That means Calvert-Lewin back on the bench, McNeil, Holgate, Gordon, Mina, Decore, Davis, Sims and Begovic, those Evertonians who are there with him. The referee tonight is Darren England. And one of the things that makes these FA Cup nights so special is the huge amount of travelling away supporters. Everton have 9,500 who've made the trip down the East Lancs or the M62 from the west. And they're sitting at the old scoreboard end of the ground. I say sitting, they're all on their feet, hoping that tonight brings them something different. Well, the greatest domestic cup competition in the world welcomes the big hitters on a weekend that traditionally conjures up the exceptional and the extraordinary. And we're with you every step of the way on Talksport. Third round weekend begins here at Old Trafford. Manchester United starting their campaign for their 13th FA Cup triumph. Everton hoping for the most famous and welcome of days amongst their Malays. It's Everton in all blue and United defending the Stretford end, red shirts, white shorts. They're kicking from left to right as we watch this game in the company of Andy Townsend.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, Jim, alongside you. And we've got a game here tonight. We've got one team bursting with confidence. Can't wait to get out there, get the ball forward and raise the roof, get everyone in Old Trafford right behind them. We've got another one on their knees. We've got another team taking blow after blow and are reeling at the moment. So what are they going to do? We'll see. FA Cup football, you're never quite sure exactly what is going to happen. It doesn't always follow the script, go according to plan. So I'm really excited and enthused by what we're going to see here tonight. A genuine test for Everton. Can United keep this good run going?
It is an Everton side that have lost 5 of their last 6 games, but the exception was here in Manchester. A 1-1 draw at Manchester City only a week 10 days ago. United switched the ball out to the right, this near touchline where Diogo Dalot has controlled it, plays it back to Luke Shaw. Interesting hearing your comments in the conversation pre-match with Hugh about Shaw playing in the centre. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest, but it can't stay too long in your opinion. I'll get your thoughts on that again in a moment as Rashford brings it forward down the United left, makes for the corner flag. It goes out of play. Over on the far touchline for a United ball, but it's a throw rather than a corner, and Malacia is going to take it. Malacia playing at left back with Shaw in the centre, and the young Dutchman will play back for Luke Shaw again, but it has gone out of play.
Yeah, basically, Jim, I think that you can. Sometimes you can step into another position and it's good for you. It gives you a different perspective. You see things slightly differently, and that can not do you any harm at all. However, I also think that when you're a left back, as what Luke Shaw is, and you're being asked to play another role, eventually a game will come along where you go, actually no, I'm not a centre-half, I am a full-back. Now, is that going to be tonight? Who knows, we'll find out soon, but that's what I believe.
Everton have given it away in the midfield. Bruno Fernandes flicking it to his left-hand side for Marcus Rashford. The ball actually stops for a good couple of seconds inside the penalty area. Godfrey did well, didn't commit himself. Iwobi's going to be able to bring it away. But Everton don't get too far because of a stumble from Neil Maupay. Loose ball breaks their way in the midfield though, and Amari Gray is able to pick it up. And they'll run towards the edge of the penalty area here with Gray in possession. Didn't get too far. Casemiro had a major part to play in that. Martial can't hold it up, but gets the second bite of the cherry inside the centre circle and does really well, having won it back, to play down for Rashford. And Rashford will now run at Godfrey, and he's passed him inside the area, and he's put on a play for Anthony, who slides Manchester United into the lead. Perfect start from men in red. And for Everton, it just goes from bad to worse to even worse. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. The first meaningful attack of the game, and Everton have conceded from it.
Well, I'll tell you what's really interesting here, because as soon as Anthony Martial rolls that ball out to just over the halfway line, left side of the field, where Marcus Rashford picks it up, and he's stepping in towards Ben Godfrey, dabbing the ball with his right foot. Ben Godfrey is offering him the line so much because he's afraid of Rashford stepping in on his right foot and let him fly. He offers him the line so much that Rashford just goes down the line, faces it across the 6-yard box, where Anthony is waiting at the back post, sliding in, and just toes it past the goalkeeper. It's as simple as you like, but Ben Godfrey there is so afraid of Marcus Rashford coming in on his right foot, he gives him all the room he wants to just say, well, I'm going to go down the line on my left foot, face it across the 6-yard box, and United, after 3 minutes, have a very easy lead.
He scored in his first 3 Premier League games. He's now scored in his first FA Cup tie. Anthony giving Manchester United the lead just past the 3-minute mark. You with Talksport. Frank Lampard was hoping that a change of competition might bring a change of fortune, or at least an opportunity for his players to indulge in a battle with that same amount of pressure being heaped on their shoulders. He's had a awakening that he wouldn't have liked inside these very early exchanges. Manchester United 1, Everton 0 on Talksport. Here's Andy Townsend.
Well, from an Everton point of view, the game plan doesn't change. It hurts, and of course it's the last thing they needed, they wanted, to come to Old Trafford and go behind so early on, but because it's happened so early, they still have time to recover, to gather themselves and make sure that one doesn't become 2. That's the most important thing now. Give yourself 5 minutes to get yourself back in the game and make sure that you don't give away anything sloppy once more.
Well, United have a really good record in the third round, as has been well documented. They've only lost at this stage in 2 of the last 37 years. The last time was 9 years ago yesterday. They were beaten 2-1 by Swansea on a day when Fabio was sent off 4 minutes after coming off the bench. Wilfred Bonney scored a 90th minute winner for the Swans. United on the front foot again here. Right for his shot from the edge of the penalty area from Martial. Minimal backlift. He had Anthony making a run to his right. He's fired it across the face of Pickford, who was beaten, but he beat the post and goes wide.
And Jordan Pickford is trying to find somebody there with a flat pinged delivery, and he gives it straight to United. The ball ends up finding Anthony Martial on the edge of the box. And let me tell you, that is not that far away, that strike. The goalkeeper turns around and starts pointing the finger and blaming one or two. The only person to blame there is himself. He gives a poor ball, makes a bad decision, and gives the ball away.
Well, it could have been 2 inside 6 minutes. As it is, it's just the 1. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. Everton, for their part, haven't had too many third-round eliminations in the past. They've lost at this stage in 4 of the last 14 seasons, but they have been the 4 years within that run in which they have drawn Premier League opposition. So it's a long time since they have beaten another side from the top flight in this third round of the Cup. And if it's going to happen this time, they're going to have to do it the hard way. Not got a good record coming back in games this season. They've only managed it the once to win, but clearly a draw and a replay would do them just as well. Ball is played back for Cody, who's just forced to lean over it. It looked for a moment as though he might have sold Pickford short with the back pass. He didn't. It's fired out by the England goalkeeper. Mopé on halfway, tried to turn it for Coleman, but straight out of play instead for a throw that will be taken over on the Manchester United left. It's 7 minutes in, and it's Manchester United 1, Everton 0, and it is the very definition of one-way traffic.
Yeah, so far it is. Haven't seen any real threat, anything substantial certainly from the visitors so far. And for United, on the back of some really solid looking performances, that's the perfect way to start this game. It really is. They're one up and they're on the front foot.
Now when you're in the kind of form that Manchester United are in, 1-0 might feel like an insurmountable lead, because their defensive record here is so good. They've only conceded in 1 of the last 9 games. And a lovely touch from Fernandes has got Anthony going again. He just tried to fashion the ball with the outside of the left boot across the edge of the area for Rashford, and it didn't come off. Almost overcomplicating things there, the Brazilian. Mikalenko can pick up the loose ball and go back for Tarkowski. And now it's played through the midfield by Onana, another making his FA Cup debut today. And Iwobi plays it wide for Seamus Coleman. Coleman back for Iwobi. Gray shows for the ball into feet in the central area. Back for Onana again. The Belgian to his left for Tarkowski. Mikalenko in space to his left, but Gray will take over instead. Now a little give and go with Mikalenko. Gray wanting the return ball, now gets it, but United so well drilled under Ten Hag. Very good, regimented side, pressing at the right times, just not allowing Everton the opportunity to play between the lines, or indeed settle in possession at all. Everything forced to go backwards. Mikalenko now tries to make something happen, and Eriksen's in the right place. And United really have improved immeasurably in that kind of regard.
Yeah, they just sat off them there, didn't they? United just sat off and just allowed Everton to have the ball and said, what have you got? Eventually Everton gave it away. What I would say, just on that last attack, when Everton just picked the ball up there, Seamus Coleman was high, Mikalenko was high. That's got to happen. Now, you play with wing-backs, then they've got to be brave. You've got to get them up the field. They've got to get ahead of the ball. Those guys are going to have to trust people in possession. Not like that. Idrissa Gueye, just a poor ball back to Conor Gody, left it a couple of yards short, and they can see possession. But coming on to the way that Everton are lining up, can't just sit with 5 in a line. You're not going to give Mopé and Damari Gray a prayer if those guys just sit back all night long. They're one down. They're going to have to be brave, take some risks and get forward at the right time.
Iwobi has picked the pocket of Eriksen in the midfield, but then given it away as he looked to play in Gueye, and it's chipped over the top and intelligently as well by Casemiro. Rashford close to being offside. The flag stayed down for now. He's worked the angle. He's trying to get himself into a shooting position. Lays it off for Eriksen, into the area. His left-footed effort blocked by Onana. Casemiro really caught it sweetly, but such a difficult ask from 30 yards to get it on target, and it's pinged it over the top left-hand corner. But with 10 minutes in, it's Manchester United 1, Everton 0. Yeah,
and again, when they have the ball, Everton, they've got to treasure it, protect it, look after it an awful lot better than they have in the opening 10 minutes. Because again there, Casemiro was who just picked that pass off from Alex Iwobi, got the team marching forward. It's his shot eventually that's always rising, but is well wide. But it's been a pretty impressive start from Manchester United.
And quite the reverse for Everton, it has to be said. It's been an Everton performance in keeping with their recent results. And I understand, Andy, that there is a huge amount of pressure on them, and that when you're used to walking onto a football field and losing, which has been the situation over the last couple of months, it must play on your mind. But there's just a lack of care, a lack of finesse about Everton's game when they have the ball in the midfield.
Yep, absolutely right. Careless, Jim. Careless. Concentrate, focus, make sure that you're absolutely ready and that you've got your wits about you when you receive the ball, that you know what you're doing with it as it's on its way to you. You know, those instinctive things that happen when you're playing well, you've got to try and turn that round. You've got to make sure that when things aren't so good, you're digging in, and if you're not sure, you clear your lines, you go long, you go in behind United, you don't take any risks.
Those are thoughts of Andy Townsend alongside me, Jim Proudford, here at Old Trafford. A lovely ball from Iwobi out to Mykolenko, making his way towards the edge of the penalty area. It's into the feet of Gray, who reacted more quickly than Dallow to get there, and now it's played off the Gray again. Right-footed effort from him, and it's hit the post. Wow. Ricocheted back onto the back of De Gea and gone into the side netting and out of play for a corner. That could easily have been 1-1 out of nothing. That
was very unlucky. Beautifully hit from Demarai Gray towards David De Gea's near post. So he picks it up almost on the corner of the 18-yard box, steps inside on his right foot, hits it hard, wraps the post, comes back off that. It's the goalkeeper's arm, goes out for a corner. Very unlucky.
Well, Everton in need of a little bit of luck, and they didn't get any there. But they do have a corner, 12.5 minutes in. That's Everton's best moment of the game. They trail 1-0. Corner headed away easily by Casemiro. And it breaks back down to the left-hand side of the Everton midfield for Mykolenko. From Mykolenko to Demarai Gray. Right-footed ball curved in by him. Headed on inside the penalty area. A suspicion that Cody might have been offside had the ball got there. United made sure it didn't through Varane. Anana's done well. Anana to Mopé, trying to get it in towards the near post, and it's bundled in. Well, it didn't seem to be too much danger, but the ball nutmegged David De Gea standing by his post, and Conor Cody walks it into the net from 1.5 feet. It's a freakish equalising goal. David De Gea with the error. Everton back on level terms. We said they needed a little bit of luck. They've almost had a month's worth in that very moment.
Yeah, they certainly have. United just switched off. The goalkeeper switches off here. Onana it is that actually prods a little ball to Neal Mopé right to the byline. And I think everybody feels he's not going to get it. He can't keep it in. We're just seeing there was an offside decision on Cody. There's a lot of football between them. And I don't think they think he can keep it in. He does. And David De Gea has got one hand on the post, guarding that area, and Mopé somehow pops it between his legs, and it's tapped into an unguarded net, and Everton are back in the game.
Well, the goal does stand. It is 1-1. Manchester United were claiming they felt that there was a foul by Onana on the edge of the penalty area on Casemiro, but it wasn't given. And Conor Cody, who was in the Wolves side that beat United in the quarter-finals of this competition some 4 years ago, has scored a rare goal, his second in Everton colours. It's Manchester United 1, Everton 1. But it is a moment De Gea won't want to see again, because there appeared to be no danger. Mopé doing well, rewarded for his persistence, wrapping his foot around the ball on the dead ball line, flicking it in. It hit the left foot and the inside right thigh of David De Gea, bounced down behind him, and Cody just tapped it in. Couldn't believe his luck.
No. I mean, it's really poor from David De Gea. He looked like a Sunday morning goal. He's standing, leaning up against the post, and the ball goes through his legs, and he just hasn't reacted quick enough.
United trying to work it forward again with Martial inside the Everton penalty area, but it's easily cleared. Down for Demarai Gray. Gray put under pressure by Dallow. Lays it back for Mykolenko on the left of the back five. Ball from him to the goal scorer Cody. Cody firing it wide out to the Everton right, where Coleman has jumped well. Now Iwobi has the ball under control, faced up by Eriksson. He's got it forward into the feet of Seamus Coleman over on that far touchline. Mopé will continue his run, and he's picked it up, and Luke Shaw steps up from the defensive line, but Everton have played round him. Not for long. United get it back. Little ricochet. Rashford playing it into Martial. Back for Rashford. To Martial again. And Pickford comes out and makes an important save. Narrowed the angle very quickly. And when the Frenchman unleashed, it hit Pickford and spoons up over the bar for a corner.
Should score there, Anthony Martial. Great work from Jordan Pickford. But again, Everton gave that ball away. Onana in the United half of the field, it's got to be said. And from there, this is when United are so dangerous. In those turnovers and the pace they've got in Rashford, Martial, and all the others, the support acts around them. They flood the box. Martial has a one-on-one with Jordan Pickford there. He should score, but the goalkeeper comes flying out, makes himself big, and sends it out for a corner.
Some cup tie this. 16 played, 1-1. In comes the corner towards the near post. Onana's been able to just about bundle it clear. Gray trying to help it on. Shaw hooks it back over his own shoulder. It's in the Everton box again, but not for long. Darren England has spotted an infringement and has given Everton a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. So Conor Coady becoming only the third player to score a goal against Manchester United in the FA Cup here at Old Trafford since 2016. The others, Mo Salah and Matt Crooks of Middlesbrough. Borough winning on penalties here in the 4th round last season. It's the only time that United haven't got through to the quarterfinals in the last 8 years.
Just seeing, Jim, a rerun of the Everton goal, and fair play to them. Good that they've got themselves back in the game. Not easy going 1 down so early on, but they got themselves back on level terms now and look a lot better for it. But just looking at David De Gea there, how awkward he was, how stiff he was standing there on the post when the ball was just scooped back from the byline. It didn't come at him at 100 miles an hour, not at all. But he didn't move his hands, he didn't adjust his arms, his hands, anything to try and make a save. He just tried to shut his legs and he couldn't do it. The ball sneaks through them and Conor Coady has a tap in from literally right on the goal line.
An error from David De Gea on the day that Manchester United have signed a goalkeeper. Jack Butland arriving on loan from Crystal Palace. Bruno Fernandes heads the ball down on the edge of the box. Martial, and it's blocked by Tarkowski in front of his goalkeeper. Back in from Dalot. Coady takes the touch and chips it out to Seamus Coleman on the Everton right. They are doing their best to play with a back 3 rather than a back 5. Coleman taking up quite an advanced position. He's just felt some contact there from Malacia and bought the free kick.
What can't happen when you play a back 3, you're up against strikers, whether it be one or a couple of number 10s or one number 10, someone has to go out and squeeze people. You cannot have 3 of you standing behind Anthony Martial, as we just saw moments ago, and allowing him to pick the ball up, have a look at Jordan Pickford, way up a shot and take that shot. As it was blocked by James Tarkowski, but Everton have got to make sure, yes, you can have 3 back there, someone's got to go and squeeze really tight on Anthony Martial, and if there's someone else in space, someone also has got to go in there, because there's not enough midfielders in there sometimes to cope with that.
19 minutes played, it's 1-1. You're listening to Manchester United against Everton, the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling. We're made by our mates, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Live on Talksport, also live across all of North America. Welcome to our listeners in the USA and Canada, joining us on Sirius XM FC. Very good afternoon to you. Belting cup tie this, 1-1. Anthony into the feet of Martial. Dalot making his way forward down the United right. Has got 2 in blue right ahead of him. But he's exchanged passes well with Anthony, who so bamboozled himself, as well as Mikalenko for a moment. Ends up going out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Everton left-hand side. They've not won here at Old Trafford since back in 2013. One of only 2 Premier League victories they've had on this ground. Seamus Coleman played that day, taking his place in the side again 10 years on. Tarkowski down for Mikalenko on the Everton left. Play forward, but Casemiro's blocked it. Onana forced to try and play the way that he was facing, back towards his own penalty area. 4 United players converged on. Onana's stayed down. Casemiro was in with a rumbustious challenge that the referee was happy to let go. But when Onana didn't get back to his feet, Darren England has stopped it just to try and assess any potential problem. He's waving the Everton medical staff on. It's 1-1 as we approach the midway stage of the first half on Talksport.
Yeah, it's been a lively opening 20 minutes to this tie. United getting off to the dream start. Everton, real punch in the stomach that was for them, but they dusted themselves down, got themselves back in it. And we've just seen as you've mentioned, Jim, rumbustious challenge from Casemiro. I think he was actually well within his rights to go for that in the manner that he did. Onana comes off second best, but he'll be okay. But just seeing Frank Lampard on our monitors, just having a chat with James Tarkowski, and they're just trying to sort 1 or 2 little issues out. I think that's about those players that are playing a little deeper, like Eriksen, like Bruno Fernandes, like Marcus Rashford when he comes in off that line. I think Tarkowski's saying, do I step in? Do you want me to go all the way? The answer to that should absolutely be yes. He should know that. Cannot let those sort of players pick the ball up on the half turn, get the ball out their feet and start working Jordan Pickford.
Frank wearing a black armband as well today, as you would expect, paying tribute to his close friend, former colleague Luca Vialli, who we have lost today at the age of 58. Our thoughts with Luca's family, of course, but they're also with all of those who simply loved watching him play. Here's Luke Shaw in possession. And that's Malacia. Midway inside the Chelsea half. Ball from him in towards Rashford. Rashford ends up on the deck. There's no foul by Ben Godfrey. It's then fire clear. Rashford's still down. The play will go on with Manchester United in possession inside their own half with Shaw. Been 12 meetings between these two in the past in the FA Cup. It's never gone to a replay. 6 of those occasions Manchester United have been victorious. The other 6 Everton. So nothing between them over history. An FA Cup history that stretches back 120 years or so. This latest instalment's been a good one to start with. Here's Varane. Back to the edge of the centre circle for Shaw. Rashford's back on his feet. He's okay and able to continue. And United have maintained possession ever since he went down. Malacia's got it now. Malacia left-footed. A lot of air underneath. That's easy for Jordan Pickford to come out and claim on the edge of the 6-yard box. We've got 8 other FA Cup ties live across the Talksport network on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, including tomorrow. Spurs, Portsmouth. FA Cup third round, managerless Portsmouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, with Nigel Adderley and Matt Holland talking you through the action there. The build-up starts game day live with Rashford at 11 tomorrow ahead of a 12:30 kick-off. Also got Gillingham-Leicester, Talksport 2 at 12:30 tomorrow. Blackpool against Nottingham Forest is at 3 o'clock on Talksport 2 tomorrow. Brentford-West Ham on Talksport 2 from 5:30. And Liverpool-Wolves on Talksport from 8. All of those games coming your way tomorrow. More on Sunday and Monday. I'll tell you about those later. Here's Neil Maupay in possession for Everton. All square here, midway through the first half. Amari Gray losing out. Casemiro won it back, but just lost sight of who was where for a moment, and he played it down to the left, hoping that Rashford was going to be holding the width for United. He wasn't, and that meant that Godfrey had the easy job of winning it back for Everton. It's 1-1.
It is, and I think for Manchester United, the more they involve Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen with Casemiro, I think that little trio is top. I really do. I think they've got a lot about them, those three there. They've got the experience, the know-how, they've got the class, the quality. I think they can make United tick from that area of the field. And from Everton's point of view, keep the ball. They've just served a long ball up to Maupay. Now they've picked that piece up. Vitally important they do that.
And they've got it with Idrissa Gana Gueye finding Alex Iwobi 10 yards outside the penalty area. But Casemiro staying a respectful distance away, stopped Iwobi doing anything constructive with it. It's gone back for Tarkowski, and he really fizzed it down the left-hand side of the area, gave Mikalenko no chance of being able to control it. And it drifts innocuously out of play for a goal kick that De Gea will take. 25 minutes in. Manchester United 1, Everton 1. Anthony sliding home a Rashford cross barely 3 minutes in. And then an epic error from David De Gea, nutmegged by Neil Maupay at his near post. Colin Cody tapped in, 1-1, and that's how it remains another 12 minutes in.
Yeah, bizarre equaliser, really. And so United have to reset and start again. As I just mentioned, I think the more they get the three in the middle of the park involved, I think I can see that they're going to create chances against this Everton team. I'm pretty sure of that.
Luke Shaw fires one down towards Anthony. The Brazilian controls it. Didn't get a great return ball though from Dalot. Casemiro then went in very strongly. Probably the worst challenge of the night so far, but Darren England keeps his cards in his pockets and doesn't even have a word with Casemiro. Just a knowing glance, and it's an Everton free kick just outside their own penalty area.
Do you know, that's another thing. The best players, you know, over the years have always got away with a few more than others. They do. It's very true. Back in my day, the best of Robsons of this world, they always used to come flying in and they get away with it. And then all of a sudden you step out of line once and you get a yellow card. Casemiro there. It's a little bit naughty, that one, on Damari Gray. The referee never even acknowledged it, never said a word. That's fine.
Now there's a little bit of a skirmish over on the far side with 2 or 3 players from both teams involved. Rashford getting back to his feet. Ben Godfrey was in the thick of that. Coleman is down there trying to calm things down. Connor Cody comes across and knows Rashford so well, of course, from international duty. And I think he has been able just to take the a potential fire out of the situation there. Ends up being a couple of handshakes before the referee has really got involved, but he does want to have a word with Coleman and Godfrey and Rashford as well. I think he's just going to calm the pair of them down, and we'll be able to shake hands and continue.
Yeah, it's right on the far side from our commentary position. I didn't exactly see what went on there, but just for a moment, I think the ball's actually already gone out of play, and Ben Godfrey and Marcus Rashford are sort of grappling with each other the other side of the line, and then all of a sudden one or two others get involved, and then you just have a little melee for a few seconds, but nothing that the referee couldn't sort out.
Manchester United able to bring the ball forward. 1-1 the score, and Rashford's got it. Yard in from the left-hand touchline, making headway down towards the edge of the penalty area. Two number 8s next involved. Bruno Fernandes almost getting the better of Onana, who did well just to stay between Fernandes and the ball. It's then cleared by Everton, and Onana again ends up on the deck. Fernandes hands out, protests his innocence. The Everton fans at that end of the ground didn't like the challenge, nor did the referee come to that. A yellow card shown to Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
First of the day.
Well, there's just been 2 or 3, haven't there, over the last couple of minutes. Again, I'm not really sure how significant the contact was there on Onana. It's a little bit petulant from Bruno Fernandes. He just sort of leaves his foot on the back of Onana just a little too long. Is it a yellow card? Not so sure. But that's now set a precedent. So I think any others, particularly Everton players that are going to make any challenges, they're going to need to be nice and clean, otherwise we're going to start seeing a few cards.
Well, free kick was taken by Jordan Pickford and spied straight out of play for a Manchester United throw on the far touchline, which is their left. Defending the Stretford end in this first half, and conceding to a goal from Conor Cody, the first they let in 403 minutes of play since Dan James scored for Fulham before the World Cup. Here's Anthony playing it back for Ericsson. The only other game in the last 9 they played here at Old Trafford in which they've let in goals was the League Cup tie against Villa. They let in 2 that day, but still won comfortably enough. They'll be hoping to win this one comfortably despite the concession. They're asking the more pertinent questions at the moment, but haven't forced a save out of Jordan Pickford since it went back to 1-1. And Cody cancelled out Anthony's 4th minute opener. Fernandes, the only player booked, right-footed. He's put a lot of air underneath that. Too much pace as well. It's sailed over the head of Dalot despite his best attempts to be able to keep it in. And goes out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Pickford. We played 30 minutes here on Talksport. Manchester United 1, Everton 1. Here's Andy Townsend.
Yeah, it's been an enjoyable 30 minutes. It's been quite engrossing. It's that great start from United and Everton. From that moment, 1 down, with all the pressure that's been heaped upon them, dusted themselves down and got themselves a goal out of nothing really. It's got to be said, David De Gea will have to take full responsibility. His hands will be raised aloft, I'm sure, at half-time, as soon as he walks in that dressing room, to just acknowledge that was his fault. But we've got a good game because of that. Everton have drawn confidence from getting back in the game, and they are, as I mentioned before the game, you've got to make yourself difficult to play against, and now all of a sudden they're competitive, they're right up to speed.
Oh, Casemiro, Ericsson, Rashford finding Fernandes. Lovely move this from Manchester United. Breaks for Ericsson. Anthony with a left-footed effort, and it was well blocked inside the penalty area. It hit Mikalenko. Now ricochets out to safety for Damari Gray. Back for Tarkovsky, down by the corner flag, and then Mikalenko just caught ball watching. Casemiro nipped in, robbed him of possession. Anthony trying to make something happen. Bruno Fernandes, Martial on the penalty spot, laid it back for Malacia, and maybe he could have turned. No foul by Iwobi, who dived in to win it back from Malacia. United win the ball back, but 20 yards back outside the penalty area. Fernandes has got it again, trying to steer a chest trap into the path of Casemiro, but Onana read it, and the 9,500 travelling Everton fans urge their side forward on the counter-attack. Damari Gray near the edge of the D. Ball back for Seamus Coleman. Everton had the opportunity to get it forward very quickly. They neglected to do it, And now Manchester United on the counter can bring it forward more quickly. Rashford from distance took a little dip in front of Pickford, who did well to get his right hand behind it and flick it away down towards the corner flag to make the save. But Everton really didn't make the most of a promising opportunity there.
They didn't. They had a real chance. They looked like they were 4-on-4. Everton, that previous attack, but they laboured in trying to get that ball out to Alex Iwobi. From there, they conceded possession. Marcus Rashford picked it up, drove right at the heart of that Everton defence, took a shot from 20-odd yards out, and it bounces right on the 6-yard line, and Jordan Pickford just punches that out to his right-hand side.
United have had some decent possession. And by and large, when they've been in possession, it's been in Everton territory. That's the case now, with Anthony coming onto his left foot, then his right, then back onto his left. Mikalenko read it well. Dalot back for Luke Shaw, just joining us. Shaw playing at centre half again today. The 3 of the 4 United changes to the starting lineup coming in the back line. Shaw moving from the left back into the middle, and the other 3 that started the last game, the win against Bournemouth, all dropping down to the bench. So no Harry Maguire today. Here's Shaw again. Shaw flicking it with his right foot out towards Malacia. Malacia away from Iwobi, but just bent it hopefully inside the penalty area, and no United player had made the run. And we're 12 minutes from half time, still the status quo maintained. It's 1 apiece.
Yeah, and when United move it very quickly, bit of one touch, that's when they look like they can stretch Everton. They can just move that back line around a little bit and get their shots away, find someone on with a bit of space on the edge of the box. When they labour it, when they take 1 and 2 and 3 touches and shift it from side to side, then the blue shirts recover. And as you would expect from a Premier League team, Everton can make life difficult for United in that respect. So the key for United, move it quickly.
Now Everton will try and move it quickly with Damari Gray in possession. And he's got Gay in the middle. Mikalenko firing it through. Too hot for Gay to handle, but Coleman can mop up. Lays it back for Iwobi, now bring it for Ben Godfrey, losing out on the edge of the box. Fernandes has stayed down. United will break quickly. Frank Lampard turns away in dismay. Anthony's got possession, faced up by Onana, he's forced to lay it back. Casemiro, a really poor ball from a man of his quality, who split the gap between Martial and Rashford ahead of him.
Just don't know why Anthony stopped there, Jim. And they've got the chance to counter because Everton made a bit of a hash of it up on the edge of United's box. Ben Godfrey was who give it away. Eventually the ball comes out to the right side on the halfway line with Anthony, and he's charging forward, and then he checks and comes back on his left foot, and he allows people to recover and get back behind the ball, and all the impetus has gone.
Cody looking long again, and when he does, it's Iwobi that often makes that third man run from midfield, trying to get in advance of Mopé and Gray. But Manchester United are able to mop up very easily on that occasion. 10 to go to the break. 1-1. Both the goals in the opening 14 minutes. And both preventable. Dalot to Eriksson. Dalot again. Down towards Malacia. Malacia into the feet of Bruno Fernandes. Just on the half turn. He's played it back for Tyrell Malacia again, headed out of play as the long diagonal looks for Anthony, and it's put out by Mikalenko, and Dalot will push forward to take the throw. Diogo Dalot back in the side, replacing Aaron Wan-Bissaka today. Dalot on the edge of the penalty area. It's a good intelligent throw down towards the dead ball line. Martial gets it, goes back for Diogo Dalot. Back from him to Luke Shaw. He's put under pressure from Neal Mopé. Laid ball by Varane. Anthony turning into trouble rather than away from it, and Everton win it back once more. Tristagana Gay with a crossfield ball. Excellent defensive work from Rashford, who saw the run of Coleman, his man, but Rashford tracked back and threw himself at that, made contact, and that alleviated any threat of an Everton counter.
Yeah, very good play that. Quite right, because wide players, they can have a tendency to let those fullbacks just march on a little bit and pass the responsibility on to someone else. Rashford doing his job perfectly there.
Now Rafa Varane bringing it forward. Former Copa del Rey winner in his time with Real Madrid, in the side that won the competition in 2014 alongside Casemiro. Varane Exchanging passes with Anthony and finding himself as a right winger, and he's just burst past his man, played in by Casemiro. Another poor touch from him. Clearance was even worse. Falls for Malacia to Bruno Fernandes, bottom left corner of the penalty area. His cross hit Iwobi, and Gay will be able to knock it away. Out towards Neil Mopé on the Everton left. And Dalot stopped him in his tracks, but it's a throw which Everton will take on halfway.
Chance there, good play from Rafa Varane. Centre half found himself high up the field. He gets right to the byline, skips past Idrissa Gueye, doesn't he? Really cleverly drops it back to Casemiro, trying to clip it up to the far post. It's actually a poor ball.
Yeah, that's a moment that will be clipped up and shown at Manchester United training this week, and show the wingers exactly what you do. Look, Rafa Varane can do it.
Yeah, nice skill, wasn't it?
Looked to check back inside and flicked to the outside of the right boot past Gueye. He gave him the eyes and got to the byline. It was excellent play. One that his teammates will certainly have appreciated. It's a free kick now to Everton. 7.5 to go to half time. Manchester United 1, Everton 1. Anthony on 4, Cody on 14. United next in action in the Cup, the League Cup, Tuesday night at home to Charlton. And the build-up starts on Talksport at 7, ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff. We've got all 4 of the League Cup quarterfinals for you next week. 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 1 each night on Talksport and Talksport 2. Tuesday, as I say, Manchester United Charlton on Talksport 2 Tuesday night. We're on Tyneside for Newcastle against Leicester. Here's Alex Iwobi in possession. 1-1 tonight in Manchester between United and Everton. Ball cleared by Cody, the scorer of the Everton goal. Tapping in after a mistake from De Gea. Iwobi, that's a good ball forward, but just too much for Coleman, who found himself as the most advanced Evertonian. Was offside anyway, and De Gea had come out and read it, but Coleman more so than Mykolenko, but both of the wide defenders for Everton are doing their best to be able to get forward. Yeah,
Seamus Coleman actually darted into a big gap there between Malacia and Rafa Varane, because Luke Shaw went wandering a little bit from that centre-half position. And Everton picked the ball up, and it was exactly the right idea from Ben Godfrey to try and find Seamus Coleman. Just a fraction overhit. The run was a little too early as well.
Dalot plays it forward, a cushion header away by Tarkowski. Mykolenko almost stumbling under pressure from Anthony. It did get it back to a teammate, but the clearance from Tarkowski was poor. Anthony with his low centre of gravity with a neat pirouette. Casemiro with a back heel flick tried to play it back to him and missed. Couldn't find his compatriot, and Everton win it back and survive the handball shot as well. Dalot then in very strongly on Gay. No foul. Here's Eriksson. Left-footed effort. Just over the bar. Everton would have been furious had that been allowed to stand, because they were convinced that Idrissa Gueye was fouled on the touchline. It looked like it, didn't it? I'm not sure who the United player was who actually, but it looked like someone ploughed through him in order to get the ball. I think it was Diogo Dalot actually. But from that, Christian Eriksen picks it up on his left foot, right on the edge of the box. Do you know what? He absolutely nails this with his left foot. And Jordan Pickford is never getting anywhere near it. It dips right at the last minute, almost grazes the top of the crossbar, but it's very close. So recently scored his 150th goal for club and country. And the League Cup win against Burnley just before Christmas. And Eriksen close to his third in United colours there, but it remains 1-1. We're in the final 5 minutes of the first half, which you can imagine be elongated by a couple. There's Dalot for United bringing it forward. You're listening on Talksport. Jim Proudfoot and Andy Townsend here at Old Trafford. Exclusive commentary for national radio tonight here on Talksport. One of 8 FA Cup third round ties we've got coming up for you over the weekend, and culminating on Monday night with Arsenal's trip to Oxford. Rashford, right-footed, nice ball down towards Anthony, controls it, flicks out a left foot, and then does well to link up with Dalot. Dalot couldn't supply him with the return ball, but it's gone out of play of Gay, and clear throw which will be taken by United about 15 yards from the corner flag. A half-time on Talksport 2, incidentally, in the rugby. Decent game there as well. Gloucester 10, Saracens 11. Sarries with the lead. Gloucester hoping to fight back, find out if they can. On Talksport 2, if you've got the Talksport app, you can easily swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2 to keep abreast of all of the live action, not just football here, of course, on the Talksport network. 1-1 here at Old Trafford in the FA Cup third round tie. Eriksen's in possession for Manchester United, near the edge of the centre circle. 4 from him to Martial in much deeper position. Casemiro trying to take it on the turn, but Tarkowski knocks it away from him. And now Everton looking to break quickly with Gray. Gray nudges it inside, gets away from Eriksen, gets away from Dalot, and still he goes. And then Bruno Fernandes is back, and it just ricochets off him to safety for United.
Sensational play from Damari Gray. Picks it up with his back to goal, right on the halfway line, in front of the technical areas. Wriggles out of a little cul-de-sac and then bursts right at the heart of that United defence. Gets to within shooting distance, looks to thread a little pass. Hit it. He's got a great shot on him. We've seen that recently. Go for it.
He scored in the last 2 games, Damari Gray. He also scored in the third round of the Cup last season as Everton won at Hull on their way to the quarter-finals. It was a night that they made heavy weather of, live on Talksport this time last year, but they did get through ultimately to the quarters, where they really didn't give a good account of themselves against Crystal Palace. They're looking to get to at least the last 8 of the competition for a third successive year this year, Everton. But it will be a notable third round scalp if they can do it, either today or in a replay. 1-1 at the moment. Iwobi a little bit more hurried than he needed to be in the heart of the Everton midfield.
Yeah, that's just happened too often, I think, from an Everton point of view. Got a nice shape now. It's quite a low block they have, that 5 in a line, as just on the edge of the 18-yard line as United build up the play down their left side.
Nearly everybody back behind the ball for Everton, everybody except for Mopé. They play round him. It's Rashford into the D, checks, then gets a left-footed effort in, which Tarkowski clears. Malacia controls that on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Martial with a nice little step over, gets the better of Iwobi, gets it back. Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, Varane coming onto it, urged to shoot, thought better of it, tried a defence-splitting ball for Anthony. But Everton read that and will be able to bring it away with Gray. Varane and Dalot coming in on him from either side. And then Casemiro has fouled Mopé. Mopé on the deck. Damari Gray on the deck as well. And Casemiro gets away with another one.
Yeah. He has indeed. He's very, very smart, Casemiro. There's never any protestation from him. If he makes a foul, he slipped actually there, in all fairness to him. He slides into Neil Mopé and just knocks him to the floor. But he's good and he's clever at that. If he does have to break the game up, if he has to take a foul for the team, he will most certainly do that.
There was an incident that was judged much more effectively by the referee than the commentator, it has to be said, with the stumble there from Casemiro. Here's Luke Shaw over on the far touchline, played into the feet of Eriksen. Eriksen controlling it, going back inside his own half for Shaw again, with just seconds remaining in this first half. Fourth official Simon Hooper will be showing us how many extra minutes to be played in a moment. He's standing poised. Anthony down the byline for Manchester United on the right. It is 2 extra minutes. Back for Dalot. Dalot on the corner of the box. United urged to get forward. Anthony with a touch that was a little bit too deft for Dalot. And Everton clear out of play for a throw.
Yeah. Put it in the box, Diogo Dalot there. Anthony did well. Rolled it back to the fullback in support of him. He took a touch. Plenty of time to deliver something. When you do that as a fullback and you're high up the field, you take that touch, you look it in the box, put it in there.
Well, Manchester United will end this first half with a corner. Tarkowski felt as though the pressure of the ball might not be great and has thrown it at the referee for a second opinion. It has gone out of play for a United corner, which is just the second. Referee checked the pressure of the ball, said absolutely fine. Rolled it down towards the corner flag for Luke Shaw to take. Not too many centre-halves in the FA Cup this weekend will be taking corners, but Luke Shaw on corner duty here for United. But before it comes in, the referee just wants to make sure that the bumping and barging inside the 6-yard box is nothing untoward.
No, they're all crowding around the goalkeeper. Jordan Pickford, he isn't the most imposing as a goalkeeper. So United have got lots of red shirts in and around him, and of course lots of blue shirts in and around him, which makes life difficult for him.
Dalot and Mopé right in front of the goalkeeper. Good header away by Tarkowski from Shaw's delivery. Then nudged down by Anthony to Eriksson to Shaw. Highest swinging ball inside the penalty area. Godfrey got that one away. But it goes back out of the Manchester United left again. Martial with his long sleeve shirt and gloves coming forward towards the edge of the box. Mopé just stood firm and then whacked away again by Godfrey towards halfway. Everton just trying to hang in there until the break. Luke Shaw's got it. I think he thought the half-time whistle was going there, and he played it forward, and now the half-time whistle does go. Well, it was a night that got off to a terrible start for Everton, conceding with barely 3 minutes on the clock. Rashford getting in past Ben Godfrey with ease, putting it on a play for Anthony to tap in. 10 minutes later, after Damari Gray's effort at cannon back off the post into De Gea and wide for a corner, Neal Mopé nutmegged De Gea at the near post. He was expecting the ball to be going into the side netting. He misjudged it. It went through his legs. Cody tapped it in. That settled Everton down. United have been the better team since then, but Everton will feel that they have at least put some foundation into the game after their terrible start. Half-time on Talksport. Manchester United 1, Everton 1. Hugh, thank you. There are no signs of any changes of personnel at this juncture. Manchester United lining up. De Gea in goal. Dalot, Varane, Shaw and Malacia. Casemiro and Eriksson. Anthony, Fernandes and Rashford and Martial. Everton, Pickford in goal. Coleman, Godfrey, Cody, Tarkowski, Mikalenko. Iwobi, Gay and Onana. And then Gray off Mopé up front. We're back underway. United red shirts, white shorts and black socks, and they're kicking from right to left towards the Stretford end. Everton in all blue. That's the travelling Evertonians, all 9,500 of them, making the noise at the beginning of this second half as the late straggling fans just take their places back in their seats again after going to the concession stands at half-time. Rashford chipping one down the left-hand side of the area. It's a really good ball out. Rashford back for Bruno Fernandes. He's clipped it in, right-footed. Dalot heading it on, inviting Anthony to attack the byline. He gets there ahead of Mikalenko. Has he got a trick to try and beat him? Flicks it with his left boot back out for Dalot. Dalot to Anthony again. Anthony onto his left foot, as is often the case. Casemiro's given it away, and it could be 2 against 1 if Everton can work this. He won't be the man in possession. Malacia is sprinting to get back, and the cheer speaks volumes. It's a really well-timed challenge. Iwobi has stayed down hurt, but Malacia gave him 10 yards, came back, and that was a brilliant challenge. Iwobi in some distress, seemingly has hurt his ankle.
Looks like he's... Yeah, he does. I think that's what's happened. It's a robust challenge from Malacia, and what's happened is Alex Iwobi's planted his right foot down and he's rolled right over the top on his ankle. It's a painful one, and he's in some distress, and you know what, it's a nasty one that for Alex Iwobi. I sincerely hope he's alright. You know, sometimes when you get these injuries you feel that instant bolt of pain, and then gradually you start to get the feeling come back into your foot or your knee or whatever you feel you've hurt, and that's the case there. He's now sitting upright. I just hope he's still in an awful lot of pain, Jim, and distress, isn't he there, Alex Iwobi? He really is. It's a real 50-50. Malacia's gone to ground. He's rolled his ankle. He's done his ankle ligaments, I think, there. I'll be very surprised if he's able to continue. Ow. I'm watching reruns of that, and I don't like it. It's not looking good. Yeah, they're calling for a stretcher. Oh dear, that's a real shame.
Yeah, he was just covering his eyes with his shirt a moment ago there, Alex Iwobi. He's got teammates all around him now, and the orange stretcher has been taken onto the pitch. There's a yellow bodyboard is there as well. It was a really good challenge from Malacia.
They actually picked it was Iwobi actually that picked Casemiro's pocket on the halfway line and burst forward, and they actually had a chance of a major counter-attack. Malacia really quick, charging back, goes shoulder to shoulder, goes to ground with like a slide tackle, and of course Alex Iwobi is running at full tilt. He's off the ground, and when he lands, he almost lands either on Malacia's foot, but and just really rolls that ankle over, and it's a nasty one, I'm afraid. It really is, and it's innocuous. It's no intent, there's no malice in it. It's just one of those horrible ones that happen in our game.
Yes, the contact was made. He came down almost actually on the ankle bone itself, and then his momentum saw him continue as the ankle was planted. Doucouré is going to be coming on to replace him, but this could be a stoppage that is another 2 or 3 minutes yet, and that does not look good. I mean, clearly he's not going to be able to play any further part today, but you look at the games that Everton have got coming up, and Alex Iwobi, one of their more influential players. There are 2 massive Premier League games coming up next. Southampton at home, West Ham away. 2 games against other sides in the bottom 4, and then Arsenal, Liverpool after that. But Old Trafford stands to applaud him. He is being carried off here, still in some distress, and hopefully that isn't anything like as bad as it looks.
No, let's hope not. A wonderful reception he gets as well from this huge Everton support, and indeed a very gracious one from all the United fans. Clearly in some distress, Alex Iwobi there as he leaves the field on a stretcher, and it's a real shame because he's worked exceptionally hard on his game to almost reinvent himself as a central midfield player, and has done that to good effect. Let's hope we see Alex back sooner rather than later.
Well, Everton are being told that they have to get on with it to restart play. Doucouré just isn't ready. Seamus Coleman.
Why is he not ready?
Well, it's mystifying, isn't it? When a player is down and receives treatment for 3.5 minutes, how can his replacement not be ready?
Stretcher comes on, he should be ready to go. He is now. Get him on the field as quick as they can.
Doucouré now enters the field, replacing Iwobi. It's his 80th Everton game. He started the first 2 league games of the season, but hasn't started a league game since then. Very much out of favour these days. A succession of substitute appearances, but he's on now. United trying to play through the Everton press on the left-hand side of their own penalty area, but they've managed that, and now Anthony's going to be able to bring it forward. Some 30 yards, 40 yards, well into Everton territory. Gets the ball back on the right-hand side. Goes back for Eriksson to Casemiro. Varane just trotting behind him. Play to him by Luke Shaw. Now Varane. Forward to his right-hand side for Christian Eriksen. 6 gone second half. It's 1-1 here on Talksport and across the United States and Canada on Sirius XM FC. Here's Rashford, left-hand side of the box, getting to the byline and putting it in. And Manchester United swiftly go 2-1 up. And Conor Cody has scored 1 at the right end, now has 1 at the wrong end as well. Knew that he had to play it. Anthony Martial was in there lurking with intent. Cody slid in to stop the ball getting to him, but has just steered it straight into his own net. It's United 2, Everton 1.
Well, it's great play from Marcus Rashford. The ball is switched 40-50 yards out towards him, and as soon as he gets it, he does the right thing. He backs Seamus Coleman into the box. A little dummy goes to the byline again, and he's going for a fast cutback right into the heart of the 6-yard box. And Conor Cody, not aware of what's behind him, doesn't want to let it go. I think James Tarkowski is there, you know. I think he's behind him. Had the big centre half have screamed to his teammate, "I've got it!" If he'd have just screamed out loud and let him take it, they'd have cleared it. As it was, Conor Cody, not quite sure what's behind him, puts a foot on it and knocks it into his own goal.
2 goals at the Stretford end tonight. 1 for Everton, 1 for Manchester United. And it's 2-1 to United, who have their noses back in front. They scored in the opening 3 minutes or so of the first half, and in the opening 6 minutes of this second.
Yeah, no surprises again, but it's Marcus Rashford who's the provider, who's the main source for United when they attack, the one who looks the most likely, the most dangerous. You know, he's been so good lately. His game has moved on another level. Confidence is back flooding through his veins. Whenever they get him the ball, he's doing naturally and instinctively what he does best, taking people on. And there, again, I like the way that he went to the byline on his left foot, as he did for the goal, the first one for Anthony tonight. He was offered the line for the first one. He wasn't so much offered the line this one. He drove towards that byline, thumped it across the 6-yard box with his left foot, and Connor Cody knocks it in. So, great play from him.
So Everton, as things stand, staring down the barrel of FA Cup elimination, 60 defeat in 7 games in all competitions. And United set there for an 8th home win in a row. They're on the front foot again inside the penalty area with a low, tame effort in the end, which came from the edge of the box from Anthony, and Pickford able to get his hands behind it, no problem at all. 9 gone second half, Manchester United 2, Everton 1, 12-time winners with their noses back in front. And you talk about Rashford and the variety that he offers down the left-hand side. Fair to say that Anthony doesn't offer the same variety down the right. He's a lot easier to read.
Yes, he is. At the moment, all he does is seem to step inside on the left foot, so you can force him back that way, which is what Mykolenko is doing. He's got to just try and mix his game up. See again there, he plays a little give and go with Diogo Dalot, but doesn't go for the return. So he gives it to Dalot, who thinks he wants it down the line, and then he stops because he wants it back on that left leg.
You're listening to Manchester United 2, Everton 1 in the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling. We're made by our mates, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Cody, the Everton goal scorer, putting through his own net. United leading again by 2-1, unbeaten here in 9 games in all competitions. Lost to Brighton in Eric Ten Hag's first match, beaten by a David Silva-inspired Real Sociedad as well in Europe, but other than that, they've been nearly perfect here on home turf at Manchester United. Everton with just the 1 away win so far this season in the league at Southampton, and one of the League Cup at Fleetwood is Eriksen for Manchester United. Sprays it wide for Rashford, controls it neatly. Malacia on the overlap for him. Rashford again with a little step over, trying to take on Doucouré. And Everton doubled up very effectively there with Damari Gray coming across, and it goes out of play for a throw which will be taken by Everton. But they trail 2-1 with 10 minutes gone in the second half. Yeah,
it's been a tough start to the second half. Losing Alex Iwobi the manner that they did, just one of those innocuous challenges that ends up with a player with a nasty injury is tough. And before Doucouré's had a chance to really get on and settle down into the game, Marcus Rashford gets to the byline, fires one across, and Connor Cody steers it into his own net. So they've shown earlier in the game, Everton, that they can reset, they can come again, they can make themselves again a force in this game. Frank Lampard, of course, has got good options on the bench. He's got some talented boys there. He's got Calvert-Lewin, for instance, who's still searching, I think, for full fitness and trying to get back to the level when he was at his best. And he'll be itching to try and get involved, and I'm sure he'll figure pretty soon.
Anthony Martial, good challenge on him by Onana, as Martial's trying to get into a position where he could pull the trigger. But Everton only stringing 2 or 3 passes together at the moment by and large. United then swiftly winning it back. They're winning a lot of second ball at the moment, and there's a hurriedness, a frantic nature to Everton's play in the midfield battle, which means that they're losing most individual contests at the moment. United so well versed to being able to see games out. They have led 15 games under Eric Ten Hag by a goal to nil, and they've won the lot. Here's Malacia to Rashford. Everton got themselves back into this one, but trail again. Shaw. Now Rafa Varane. Varane coming forward over the halfway line. And getting sacked in the morning, the cry from the Everton supporters, or from the Manchester United supporters, should I say, towards Frank Lampard. I don't believe that would be the case, irrespective of what happens here. I get the impression that Lampard, unless they get a heavy defeat at Southampton, will certainly be given the next 2 games to try and transform Everton's fortunes at the very least. Is Anthony taking it towards the edge of the box, lays it off for Bruno Fernandes. Here's Fernandes again. Anthony back out towards Dalot. Fernandes went down off the ball and has stayed down injured. The referee just showing that he's acknowledged that, but play goes on. And United end up working it all the way back from shore to their goalkeeper, David De Gea. It's about the most relieved man in Manchester when Conor Coady put through his own net. It took the sting out of that De Gea error from earlier in the game. Coady there with a good interception on a crossfield ball intended for Martial, and Everton will try and bring it forward here with Doucouré, Andy.
Yeah, good play that from Conor Coady. Just reading that clever little through ball and dealing with that very nicely.
Gray losing out to Rashford. Doucouré back in strongly, stumbled and then involved with Malacia. He went to ground. Doucouré rather bought a free kick, which Everton will take quickly with Godfrey going back inside his own penalty area for Coady. Coady to Pickford, who just delayed for a moment before clearing, looks for Neil Maupay, and you sense Calvert-Lewin for Maupay might not be too far away.
Yeah.
In fact, right on cue, Calvert-Lewin and Gordon both set out from the bench to warm up. Manchester United take it down towards the corner flag with Dalot, and he's won the first corner of the second half for United.
I think for Everton, if you're not careful, they'll concede again, and those changes, it'll be too late. So if I was Frank Lampard in this situation, Neil Maupay's done right. He's worked hard tonight. He really has. But I would make the changes, and I would make them sooner rather than later. Give yourself a chance to get back into this game with some fresh energy, and maybe just a slightly different dynamic up front. Because if United score again, it's going to be very tough.
Shaw takes this corner. Varane, the target, peeled away towards the edge of the penalty area, but got nothing on it. And Everton work it quickly down the right-hand side for Maupay, and Varane's now out of position. With Maupay coming forward quickly, but forced to check back. Anthony had done a good job actually for United. He'd seen that Varane was out of position. He dropped back in at centre half at Anthony. So they kind of kept their defensive shape. Haven't got the ball back yet, Manchester United. Flashed inside their box, but not effectively. And then Rashford is caught by Ben Godfrey, and he will receive a yellow card. Will the Everton defender? Rashford still on the deck, and Godfrey is in the book. Free kick to United.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford kind of invited that challenge a little bit there. He said to Ben Godfrey, come on then. And Godfrey ploughed through him really clumsily, and now gets a yellow card. It's a clever little ball from Marcus Rashford round the corner. And Godfrey's always a little late and catches him on the top of his foot, and he's in the book.
Let me remind you what's coming up tomorrow. Got 8 more games this weekend from the FA Cup on the Talksport network tomorrow. Spurs Portsmouth 12:30. Game day live with Adrian Durham, Perry Groves and Adrian Clark at 2:30. And Liverpool Wolves at 8. That's all on Talksport. 3 live games for you back to back on Talksport 2. Gillingham Leicester, Blackpool Forest and Brentford West Ham. On the edge of the penalty area, Bruno Fernandes onto his right foot, neglected the opportunity to shoot when perhaps he should have done. Anthony back for Bruno Fernandes again, trying to get the better of Idrissa Gana Gueye, who's forced him outside the Everton box. Anthony's there in support, flicked it in looking for Casemiro, and Everton getting the bodies back, defending mob-handedly, not particularly effectively. They haven't been able to get it away now, and ends up going off the island and out of play for a United throw.
Yeah, big chance there for Bruno Fernandes. He ran onto that ball that was bobbling around on the edge of the box, and he did have a chance to get that shot away. I'm surprised he didn't take it. One touch too many, and Everton did well just to deny him.
Malacia urged to shoot, obliges, but it didn't get to the edge of the area. Coady coming out, closed it down, and then Neil Maupay has won a free kick, claiming that he was fouled by Shaw. It should be a yellow card, but the referee doesn't agree.
Yeah, clever foul that from Luke Shaw. Bundled Neil Maupay to the ground, denies Everton the chance of any sort of counter-attack. And that's why the frustration there you can see is apparent on the Everton bench and their players' faces.
A couple of live FA Cup ties for you on Sunday as well on Talksport and on Sirius XM FC across North America. It's Cardiff Leeds from 2 English time, and Manchester City Chelsea from 4:30. Then Monday night Oxford Arsenal, and Tuesday the League Cup quarterfinals start, including Manchester United's next match at home to Charlton here Tuesday night. That kicks off at 8. Build up at 7 with Adrian Durham here on Talksport, and also on Tuesday night Newcastle Leicester is on Talksport 2 with 2 more League Cup quarter-finals to come for games at Forest and Southampton on Wednesday. Ben Godfrey here at Old Trafford tonight, 1 the half-time score. It's 2-1 now in Manchester United's favour, but for how long? Because Doucouré's making his way forward. Still he goes. Outside him is Coleman. Flash it across. It's flicked off the foot of De Gea. Bounces off Mikalenko, and Dalot mops up with the aid of Fernandes inside his own penalty area. Doucouré not leading a counter-attack with a huge amount of conviction, but they very nearly profited from it.
They certainly did. Good numbers in the United box there, Everton. They come again.
With Damari Gray. Hasn't quite had the influence in the second half that he did in the first. Coleman's ball in, not the worst. Headed away by Dalot. Casemiro nodding it back inside his own penalty area. Bruno Fernandes retraced his steps to clear. Back from Doucouré. And Nana picking it up. A tall, long-legged Belgian working it out towards the left. And De Gea has prevented the corner as it was swung in by Mikalenko. By Mikalenko. And it just took a touch off Dalot. And De Gea with quick hands at the near post stopped it going out of play for what would have been Everton's first corner of the second half. We're 19 minutes into this second period. We've already seen Alex Iwobi stretch it off and Conor Cody put through his own net in it. And it's Manchester United 2, Everton 1.
Yeah, unlucky there, Everton. Good run from Doucouré, burst into the box. It ricocheted to Seamus Coleman on the byline. And he fizzed it back. You're right, Jim, that little touch from Mikalenko just not quite enough to give themselves a chance to score, but they had good numbers in the box, better from them.
Now Rashford nutmegs Doucouré and wins the free kick as Doucouré refused to let him pass. Free kick that isn't in shooting position. It's almost level with the left-hand side of the box, but it's a good 14-15 yards outside the Everton penalty area. 20 minutes gone in this second half. Everton looking for some kind of response, are about to bring the big hitters off the bench. Dom Calvert-Lewin removes his training tops and he'll be on for his 200th Everton appearance in a moment. Shaw is making his 300th career appearance today. Stands over this free kick with Eriksen, who's a good few hundred ahead of that. 2 in an Everton wall. Everybody else for Everton back on the edge of the penalty area. It's just not square. Bruno Fernandes! Good effort. 35 yards out. But he hit it so sweetly. It was arrowing towards the crossbar. It just snuck in under the bar, and Pickford got his hand up and tipped it over the bar for a corner.
Yeah, lovely strike that from Bruno Fernandes. He's got a bit of dip and swerve on that. He's right in the middle of the pitch. As you say, Jim, 30-odd yards out. Hits it almost off the outside of his boot, so it starts to really swerve away from Jordan Pickford, who makes, I think, a comfortable save, but nonetheless an important one.
Sharp exhalation of breath from Pickford once he'd made that save, but he would have been very disappointed had that beaten him from that far out and in a central area. United's fourth corner, this one taken short. A little variation on the theme here. Comes out for Dalot. Dalot to Shaw. Shaw urged to hit it, but flicks it with his right foot down towards Rashford, and then Doucouré in very strongly again, and he's brandishing the yellow card, saying Rashford should be booked for diving. A yellow card is going to be shown, and it's shown to Doucouré. Presumably for the foul, but the brandishing of the imaginary yellow card is actually a cautionable offence.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Whether it's that, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a foul. I mean, he's ever so late when he lunges in on Marcus Rashford. If Marcus Rashford doesn't step out the way and jump out the way, then Doucouré's going to knock him up in the air, about 6 foot up in the air. So I don't think he can have too many complaints that he gets a yellow card there. Foolishly went after the referee, brandishing an imaginary card, and ends up getting one himself.
So United have another free kick. This one's right out on the touchline. Eriksen and Shaw stand over it again. It's the same two men in that Everton wall, which is still outside the penalty area. Gray and Coleman, and it comes from Eriksen. Just trying to deceive that Everton back line with a quick one whipped in viciously, but a little bit too much in swing. It took it into the hands of Pickford, and Everton will be able to bring it away. They've got a quarter of the game left to try and rescue this. There's going to be a fair bit of time added on after the stoppage for the injury to Iwobi. Doucouré playing it wide. Mikalenko. Anthony back in defensive duty has done well. He's robbed him of possession, and then as he makes his way forward, he's fouled. And it's a free kick. Doucouré's got to make sure that he keeps a lid on his clearly short fuse here, having just picked up a yellow card. Everton will make the change. Calvert-Lewin for Maupay.
Yeah, no surprises there. I think Neil Maupay's done well tonight. He's held the ball up nicely on the halfway line, which is important when you're scrapping and battling away. You need to retain the ball, and he's tried his very best to do that. So now Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes on. So a different emphasis, a different dynamic in that forward position. So he needs service, he needs delivery into the box.
Well, Maupay came off and then got himself in a pretty animated discussion with fourth official Simon Hooper for reasons that were unclear. Calvert-Lewin on. Calvert-Lewin has scored just the once in an injury-hit campaign. He netted against Palace in a 3-0 win, just about Everton's finest day of the season. It remains their last victory since October. Just 1 win in 11. A win, 2 draws, 8 defeats in that run, which prior to today they'd scored 8 and conceded 21. So averaging less than a goal a game and conceding nearly 2 a game. United are going to make a double change in a moment. Fred and Garnacho are going to be the players that will be introduced by Erik ten Hag. His first taste of the FA Cup. As things stand, is going to end in victory, but a long way to go yet. Here's Shaw finding Rashford. Rashford back inside his own half for Malacia. Marcus Rashford's got it again. A couple of assists for him tonight, but he doesn't have too many opportunities to score in what will be a 7th successive home game, which is some record. He's actually scored in his last 4 games for United, the longest goal-scoring streak of his career. And will he be able to extend that? If he can, you'd feel that will be the seal set for Manchester United. They lead by 2-1. Dalot wins the throw over on the far touchline. That will allow United the opportunity to make this double change. First of all, Casemiro off, and he'll be replaced by his compatriot Fred in the midfield.
You can hear the applause for Casemiro. They love him here already. He's proving to be a significant addition. I think there are tougher tests for him to come, where he's really going to need to come to the fore at his absolute best and peak of his powers, but there's no doubt for a vastly experienced player that's been there, seen it and done it, he's certainly come to United not just to make up the numbers, not just to play here and there. He wants to be right in the thick of it, and the Old Trafford faithful recognise that.
Fred comes on to replace him. The other change sees Anthony Martial make way, and Alejandro Garnacho comes on for his FA Cup debut. You'd imagine that will mean that Rashford will go through the middle, and the Garnacho will play on the left. He has been fantastic this season. He's really made an impression. It's always so tempting when a youngster bursts onto the scene. He's only 18 to see performances that just exude positives and not to have a sense on reality. But you can't help but look at him and think he could be the real deal.
He's exciting, isn't he? He's only a kid, but he's an exciting boy.
Now Rashford with a clever little flick. Bruno Fernandes will play in Garnacho, and he's got it left-hand side of the penalty area. Just lost his balance for a moment and then lost possession, having regained his balance on the left-hand side of the box. It just flicked off his right foot and went out of play for a goal kick. He scored the winner at Real Sociedad. He scored that dramatic last-gasp winner at Fulham in Manchester United's last game before the World Cup. He's just got so much poise for one so young. Has come outside his penalty area. He's got away with that. He and Dalot just at cross purposes. It's a high ball played for by Everton, and it was dropping down relatively innocuously towards the edge of the box. It wasn't going to get inside the penalty area. De Gea decided he had to come out and sweep up. Dalot didn't get a shout from him, or didn't heed a shout from him in any case. The two of them attacked the same ball, and it almost broke for an Evertonian about 20 yards out for a tap-in, but United survived it.
They're lucky there. Once you come out your edge, once you come beyond that 18-yard line as a goalkeeper, you have to make sure you clean everything out, and then you can debate it afterwards. What you can't do is come out and be indecisive and sort of look at your teammate and wonder if he's going to kick it or you're going to get it. You've got to come out and make sure that you absolutely nail it and get rid of it. He didn't do that there, the goalkeeper.
Nice touch. It was a brilliant flick from Gray. He gets the return ball from Coleman. No flag yet. Here's Damari Gray getting away from Malacia, fires it across, and it's in off Calvert-Lewin. It's 2-2. They're back on level terms. Dominic Calvert-Lewin chests it over the line. The Everton celebrations away to our right are rapturous. It's really close to being offside in the build-up. At the moment, it stands. The referee's just waiting for confirmation.
It's very close, Jim. It's so close. It was brilliant play. The ball was laid up to Damari Gray, and he sort of back-flicked it inside. And then when he got the reverse pass, is he offside? Watch this one here. It's so close. It is a tape measure job. We're talking millimetres here. It really is. It's going to be right on the wire. And it's a real fast delivery. I'm just looking at Calvert-Lewin's position. And Damari Gray hits that. He's good.
It's offside.
Yeah.
Doesn't count. Great call, Andy. Gray's right foot just a fraction too far forward.
So unlucky that.
So it's a moment that gives Everton hope, but nothing more than hope. Calvert-Lewin chesting the ball in from close range. He's just asking for clarification. He knows he wasn't offside. He wasn't. It was Gray. Yeah. And Gray's so unlucky. That was a brilliant flick round the corner. Well-weighted ball from Coleman, but he went a fraction of a second too early.
Yeah. It's literally... we are talking inches there, honestly. So close. So close. Desperately unlucky that, because it was beautifully worked and it was intended, that flick. It was great skill from Damari Gray. So they've got to go again. Everton and United, they just breathe a huge sigh of relief there.
It remains Manchester United 2, Everton 1, with 15 minutes of normal time to go. Here's Garnacho. Back for Fred. Wonderful crossfield ball from him out towards Dalot, right inside of the area. Good sliding chance from Tarkowski, cleared it. Eriksson picking it up towards the edge of the box. Back for Fred. Fred chipping it wide again. United using the width effectively. Dallow's ball in is headed away by Godfrey. And then Calvert-Lewin chests it down, trying to hold it up. Just presented it back for Dalot. Deep ball in. Bruno Fernandes heading it back across the edge of the 6-yard box. Malacia is in there on the slide. Everton bring it away with Cody. He looks as though he was caught, and the referee has given a free kick to Everton about 8 yards outside the box. Lisandro Martinez about to come on for Manchester United. It's 2-1-2 United with 15 to go.
Yeah, and again, a few of the Everton players crowding around the referee, unhappy with that challenge on Conor Cody. They felt it was foot up, and it certainly was. Malacia does make contact with the ball, but the momentum, the follow-through, certainly catches Conor Cody right on the top of his foot, and I think the referee's right to give the free kick. Just seeing the offside decision. I mean, it is so close. It's Damari Gray's right foot and Luke Shaw's shoulder as he's turning and running back, and there's inches between the two.
Lisandro Martinez on for Malacia. Shaw moves to his more customary left-back berth. And Lisandro, World Cup winner alongside Rafa Varane at the heart of the Manchester United defence. Lisandro Martinez, another player making his FA Cup debut. He won the Dutch Cup a couple of years ago as the runner-up last season. And trying his luck in the FA Cup now. Manchester United 12-time winners of the competition. And just over 12 minutes away from a place in round 4 for the 36th time in 38 years. Fred's given a throwaway and then gives a bit of sharp Brazilian invective to the assistant referee on this near side, Simon Bennett. He felt that the decision was the wrong one. Damari Gray going across to fight the corner of the assistant referee. And Fred is led away. Throw taken. Decore getting the better of Garnacho, flicking it in towards Gray. Fred will clear. Forward towards Marcus Rashford. You do sense that the goal scoring hasn't finished yet. United score the next, they've surely won. Everton can score. It will set up a grandstand finale. We've got 12 and a half minutes to go. It's Conor Cody, who's scored 2 of the 3 tonight, 1 at each end. Coleman turning away from Luke Shaw. Fred was in strongly. Coleman gets it back again though. Then Decore works it wide. Out to the Everton left for Mikalenko. Calvert-Lewin, right arm above his head, trying to make a near post run across the face of Lisandro Martinez. That created space for Idrissa Gana Gueye, whose dipping effort flies over the bar.
Bad decision. Bad decision that from an experienced player. Idrissa Gana Gueye there, receiving the ball, doesn't even get it out of his feet. He's 35 yards out. Go wide, give it to Damari Gray. He's the danger man. Keep knocking it into Damari Gray's feet. You should sense that, you should know that. Everyone can see how much of a threat Damari Gray is at the moment whenever he gets the ball and runs at people. So just keep rolling it to him.
Well, the Everton fans find their voice again. Irrespective of what happens from here, you feel that as though it's a much improved Evertonian performance?
Look, you know, they've been competitive, and that's the bottom line. They've not been special. They've had their moments. They've kept battling away. They're not out of this game yet either, Jim. But they've been really competitive. So Frank Lampard will enjoy that. The fans will know that. I'd be very surprised if there's anything other, if it finishes this way, if there's anything other than a warm send-off for the Everton players from their fans. They'll be disappointed, but they can see they've given it. But they've not left anything out there.
To play like this against Southampton, then they would have a decent chance, you would imagine. That's Everton's next Premier League game. The kind of efforts that have to be the bare minimum, really, from this point on.
Coming here and being defensive and setting up and being hard to break down, that's one thing. Being at home, taking teams on, getting at them, getting after them, making something happen is a lot harder for a team suffering with confidence.
And that's just borne out by Everton's last three results. The away draw at Manchester City, sandwiched between thumping home defeat by Brighton and a loss at home to a Wolves side in the bottom three as well. They're going to make their final changes in a moment. They can make a triple. They're going to make a double. McNeil and Gordon are coming on. Coleman's coming off. So almost certainly it's going to be a switch to a 4.
Yep.
Coleman will trot across and take the captain's armband to Ben Godfrey and tell him to give it to Jordan Pickford. So Coleman coming off, and the other player coming off is Mikalenko.
Yeah, totally get that as well. I think they're good changes. Anthony Gordon again with his pace. Damari Gray is sort of moving up there alongside Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dwight McNeil looks like he's going over on the left-hand side of a 4. Anthony Gordon out here on the right.
They're just trying to work out what they've done. They might
even still be a 3
with a 5.
Yeah, might be a 3 with Connor Cody, with Tarkowski and still Ben Godfrey. Just trying to see exactly where Dwight McNeil's going to operate. We'll see.
At left wing back. Potentially, he did play at left back in a 5 at Tottenham before the World Cup, which was a surprise variation on the formation from Frank Lampard. Looks as though he's reprising that now. Gordon playing as a right wing back in space. Godfrey's lost it. Fred's picked his pocket on halfway. Manchester United lead this by 2-1 with 9 to go. Rashford driving dynamically towards the heart of the Everton back line, but Connor Cody and Tarkowski between them allay the threat. Everton get it forward again, out to the far touchline for McNeil. Gray with a crossfield ball. It's a lively bounce for Gordon, but he got his bleach blonde hair to it. Flicks it back for Ben Godfrey. And now Gordon will run into a midfield position and then turn. And then play down towards Gay. Gay flicking it away from Shaw, who's now at left back for Manchester United, having played most of the game at centre-half. Decore out towards McNeil. McNeil coming in off that left flank. Damari Gray's got it. He's 10 yards away from the Manchester United penalty area. Swung in towards Calvert-Lewin by McNeil. Headed away by Lisandro Martinez. Calvert-Lewin towers over him, but it was very well defended by the Argentine.
Exactly the right idea. Dwight McNeil, he's out there. He's on that left side. He's not the quickest. So just get it out your feet and deliver it. Put it in the box. That's all you got to do. Leave the rest up to Calvert-Lewin. Don't worry about dropping it on a plate or looking for him and picking something out inch perfect. Just whip it in there and ask a centre forward to go and do his stuff.
Double change for United now, and McTominay and Maguire are the men who are coming on. Christian Eriksen is the first to vacate the scene, and Anthony will also come off. So Eriksson and Anthony off, Maguire and McTominay on.
Yeah, and I think that tells you exactly what sort of threat Erik ten Hag is expecting for what's left of this game. Where are we now? We're in the 83rd minute, plus whatever the referee decides to add on, so there could be 10 plus minutes yet. So bringing in big lads like McTominay and Maguire, expecting maybe some wide free kicks, some corners, some crosses, some deliveries into the box. No surprises there.
And now United are playing with a back five. So Shaw at left back, Dalot at right back, and then Maguire, Varane and Lisandro Martinez, the three centre-halves in that order, with Maguire on the right of those three. Scott McTominay complementing the midfield as United themselves now go 5-3-2, matching up Everton. Garnacho and Rashford playing as wide forwards here. United, all they've got to do is soak it up. 6 to go. United 2, Everton 1. Everton have drawn each of their last 3 games here at Old Trafford, but it's going to be relatively late and pretty dramatic if they can extend that unbeaten streak on this ground and book a replay at Goodison Park the week after next.
Yeah, it's not been vintage United, has it? They started really bright first half, and they started with genuine intent, but there's just been moments for them tonight, I feel. Marcus Rashford, no surprises that he's been the main source for them, providing 2 really clever assists for the goals, but they've had 1 or 2 moments, but they've never really bossed proceedings tonight. Everton never out of this one.
McNeil back through the midfield for Onana. Tarkowski to Cody inside the centre circle. Everton trying to get themselves onto the front foot, trying to be in a position that they can create chances late in the game. Godfrey took his eye off the ball, but just able to get a second bite of the cherry before it ran out of play for a throw. He found Gordon, Gray, back for Decore, who came on as a substitute for the stricken Iwobi early in this second half, who just joining us was stretching off with an ankle problem. Shaw and Lisandro Martinez attacked the same ball, ran into each other. Decore's got it, back to the edge of the penalty area. Heavy touch from Godfrey. That allowed the Manchester United backline the opportunity to win it back, and Lisandro Martinez cleverly used his body and just shepherded the ball over the line and out of play for a goal kick.
Do you know, that was really nice work down the right side between Anthony Gordon, Decore and Ben Godfrey. Decore it was who actually got into a wide position, and he was asking people to get in the box. In the end he has to cut it back, and they lose the opportunity. I think they're in a really good position there. I'd like to have seen Calvert-Lewin on the move a little quicker than he was. He was looking, waiting for the delivery before he makes his move. Again, just didn't quite get in sync there.
Well, the Everton problem as they're chasing the game is that since Conor Cody scored for them in the 14th minute, Andy, they've only had 1 further shot on target. It's a game in which they've now been behind for 35 minutes of this second half, having trailed for 10 in the first. Only 2 shots on target all night. Possession 60-40 in Manchester United's favour as Rashford brings it forward, left-hand side of the box, goes towards the byline again. Tried to bamboozle Cody. He played it in early, but couldn't get it between the legs of the England centre-half. It's come off Cody and gone out of play for a United corner.
Good run again, Marcus Rashford. He's running right to the corner of the 6-yard box from that right side, and you think any minute now, from the left side, he's going to chop back onto his right foot and get his shot away, like he did very cleverly when he come on against Wolves, the goal he scored at Molineux. But this time he goes to the byline and then just tries to fiddle a little ball back, and he can't quite do it.
Bruno Fernandes comes across to take this corner, which is United's 5th of the game. It's cleared easily. Shaw heading it back, and that's a poor challenge right in front of the referee. Onana puts his hand up to apologise, but knew that a yellow card was forthcoming, and the man who's only just back in the Everton side today after suspension picks up another caution.
Yeah, I think it's Lisandro, isn't it? He feels the full force of that one. Onana comes lunging in, commits to that, knows he's late, never getting there really. Yeah, nasty challenge, absolutely warrants a yellow card.
6th caution of the season for Onana. Now, by the time United have taken this free kick, they'll be in the 89th minute. Martinez is okay. He's back on his feet. No need for any treatment. Bruno Fernandes stands over this free kick. It's left of centre and at a nice range, because the wall is pretty much right on the edge of the penalty area. That wall is force strong. Gordon stands on the edge of the wall. There's a gap between him and the edge of the wall. Similarly, Gay stands at the other side. So it's a wall of 4, a gap of 2, and then one either side. Rashford and Bruno Fernandes are the two players orchestrating things here for Manchester United. Score from this and they've won. Don't score from this, they still probably will. Everton running out of time very quickly. Rashford runs up, hits it right-footed, dipping. Pickford had to help it on its way. He hit it with real power. It was largely central, but still Pickford making a decent save. Might only have seen it late. Got his fingers to it, help it over the bar.
Yeah, nice strike from Marcus Rashford. What I do like about him, when he steps up to take a free kick, he actually really commits to it. Nothing worse than seeing someone sort of amble up to a free kick and clip it over a wall. Marcus Rashford always wants to really hit it hard with dip, but it was right at Pickford, just under the centre of the crossbar, and he's able to tip that one over pretty routine.
One of only 2 players to score a direct free kick in the World Cup, Marcus Rashford. We're in the final minute, expecting, I think, 6 to be added. In comes the corner from the United right, outside the box for Fred's attempt at a volley, which was dragged wide. Shaw then heads the ball forward as Everton initially cleared. Second header from Luke Shaw. Ricochets through the midfield. Varane trying to generate as much power in a header as he could to feed it wide for Bruno Fernandes. McNeil is back. Fernandes stopped it going out of play for a throw, and McNeil capitalised on that and took the ball away. Gay back for Onana. Onana on the edge of the centre circle. Just backheeled back into his path again. It is 6 additional minutes. Cody playing it forward. Doucouré down towards Gordon. Gordon flicked off for Doucouré. Doucouré back for Damari Gray. Right hand side of the United penalty area here. Gray working the angle. Left footed shot. De Gea got down at his near post and made a comfortable save.
Unlucky. Nice football that from Everton. Clever play between Anthony Gordon and Abdoulaye Doucouré. Eventually finding Damari Gray on his right foot, comes inside on the left foot, just inside the United box, on the angle.
United at the other end trying to get Garnacho in, but Everton get it away with Tarkowski. Onana looked for Gray, couldn't find him. Breaks back to him from Fred. This time he plays square to his left. Frank Lampard waving everybody in blue forward. They got 5 minutes of stoppage time to find an equaliser and book a replay. Ball play forward towards Damari Gray. Gray for Idrissa Gana Gueye. Out towards Dwight McNeil. McNeil on the left-hand touchline. Faced up by Dalot. Has he won the corner? Yes, he has. Everton, decent from corners with the aerial threat. The likes of Calvert-Lewin and Doucouré and Onana. And this might be their best chance, their last remaining chance of getting back into this game.
Well, they've certainly got some presence, haven't they, as you say, Jim, with the players you mentioned, plus Cody, Tarkowski. But United, this is why they brought on McTominay and Maguire. So they've got to try and repel this as well. But this is maybe one of the last chances Everton will have.
In comes the corner. Everton's second. And it breaks on the right-hand side of the area for Godfrey. Plenty of bodies between him and goal. He's chipped it back in. McTominay in there defending. Out of play for a goal kick. And Everton players hair after the referee saying that he got that wrong. But it is a goal kick which David De Gea will take. He'll be in no hurry to take it. In front of a crowd of 72 and a bit thousand tonight. Manchester United are only 4 minutes of stoppage time away from the last 32.
It did actually look like it might have just come off of Scott McTominay, that one. Not an easy one for the referee, but he made a call. He gave the goal kick, and much to the dismay of all the Everton boys. We've had their moments second half. They've had 1 or 2 little raids, haven't they? They've had 1 or 2 little incisive bits of football that have just given them a glimmer.
Rashford coming to meet a ball that's hit from deep. Just tried to take the weight off it as he spun it over the top for Garnacho, but it still scooted through for Pickford. Cody, a long ball over the top. Calvert-Lewin didn't get a decent run towards it because Shaw just gave him a nudge, and then it's played very cleverly by Bruno Fernandes round the corner. McTominay, here's Marcus Rashford. Rashford inside the penalty area. Great sliding challenge. Puts it out of play. Really well defended by Ben Godfrey. It's a United corner though, and they can run some more time off the clock.
Yeah, lovely football from United. Clever ball inside to McTominay, then releases Marcus Rashford. You know, and Ben Godfrey, that's his strength, recovering and making challenges like that. Not always the most comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's got to work at that part of his game, but certainly his recovery work, his defensive work is excellent.
2.5 to go, so United work the corner short. And then Rashford drills it straight at Anthony Gordon, who came to close him down, and goes out of play for another corner. Or is it a throw? The referee, it is a corner. The referee just telling the two Everton players who are standing 10 yards away that they have to be 10 yards away, and that 7.5 won't do. It's taken short again. Fernandes to Rashford, back for Fred. Manchester United leading Everton 2-1 with 2 minutes to stoppage time to go. Right-footed Dalot sends a high spiralling ball towards the edge of the box. Gordon beaten. Bruno Fernandes with a lovely turn, but the shot didn't match it. He brought it out of the sky quite magnificently, but tried to strike it first time with his right foot and hit it with the outside of the right foot and curved it well wide.
And just looking at Garnacho, his reaction when Bruno Fernandes, it was a lovely bit of skill, as you say, with his back to goal, pulls it out of the sky, then turns and hits one all in one movement really. Garnacho standing there and he's saying, if you'd have given it to my feet, I'd have done better than that. And Bruno Fernandes has to just remind him a little bit to just keep it quiet and get on with it for this last couple of minutes.
McTominay getting out of harm's way from Manchester United's perspective. He's right in front of us on the United left. Fred with a measured ball for Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes 4-4 Garnacho. What can he do here? Running inside the penalty area. Great pace. Bubble to the ground. Penalty to Manchester United. Right at the end of the game. Godfrey leading into Garnacho. He just couldn't keep up with him. Took matters into his own hands. No Evertonian complaints. Garnacho wins the penalty, and United can set the seal on it with almost the last kick of the night.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. Ben Godfrey doesn't complain at all. He actually tells Jordan Pickford to stay at home as Garnacho bears down on the goal, and he's just trying to disrupt him. He's always a yard short there, Ben Godfrey. He's eating the ground up, but he can't quite get there. And then there's just a little coming together. The United man hits the floor, and I think that's the right call. Really do. It's so close. Ben Godfrey just can't quite get there, and it's just maybe done enough to send Garnacho. It's close. It's not an absolute stick-on penalty. The referee immediately points to the spot, and I don't think that there's going to be anything to change the VAR guy's mind. I think we're going to see Marcus Rashford look to add to his tally.
Well, his goal against Bournemouth meant that he scored in 4 successive Manchester United appearances for the first time in his career, and he can now extend that to 5. Rashford walks back purposefully to the edge of the penalty area, faced up by his international teammate Jordan Pickford. It's Rashford against Pickford to give United a 3-1 victory. He runs up, stops, right-footed. Pickford committed himself. Rashford slides it past him. He has now scored in his last 7 Old Trafford appearances. But more importantly than that, Manchester United have completed the job. Applause from Ten Hag. Rashford stands, acknowledges the acclaim of the Stretford end, and Manchester United have inflicted a 60 feet in 7 games on Everton, who are going out of the FA Cup.
Great penalty. And you know what? This Marcus Rashford, I didn't think he'd miss. I didn't feel as if he was going to miss this one. This boy is full of confidence right now. He's enjoying being the main man. He's enjoying being the go-to man. 2 assists and a goal for him tonight. He's been their most effective player.
th goal of the season for Rashford. And Manchester United are through to the 4th round. Everton have time to string 3 passes together from the kick-off, no more than that. Job done. for Manchester United. Same story for them in round 3 to the norm. They've made it past the first hurdle in this competition in 36 of the last 38 years. But for Everton, there's a familiar feeling as well. A 60 feet in 7 games in all competitions, just 1 win in 12. Not the cup miracle they hoped that might kickstart their season. Could have been so different. At 2-1 down, they had a goal chalked off for offside, only inches in it, but such are the fine margins when things aren't going your way. Rashford killed them off with almost the last kick of the game after Cody'd scored at both ends, and Manchester United had failed really to capitalise on the excellent start that Anthony had given them. But 3-1 to Manchester United. Some muted protests from the Everton supporters away to our right-hand side, who supported their club magnificently throughout, but they know that there are big battles ahead, and they've got an epic league campaign between now and May to salvage their season and their Premier League status. Manchester United have got the job done tonight, though. Rashford walks off, leading the support. Couple of assists and a goal for him tonight as United win by 3-1.